All right, we're going to go ahead and bring the Park and Rec meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Steve,
Here.
Andrew,
Here.
Seth,
Here.
Emma, and Cindy. Here.
All right. Moving on, it's the first period for public comment. And if you have public comment that you want to make, you can come up to the lectern. We'll keep your comments to 3 minutes. You also need to state your name and address. And just so you know, there is going to be time for discussion about the Park and Rec playground plans after we make the presentation. So I will let you use that information however you want to take it. So is there anybody that wants to make a public comment? Come on up.
Okay, so my name is Hannah McKeever. I am with UW Extension here in Vernon County. I technically live in Westby, but I am the community development extension educator here. Do you still want my address? Okay.
It's for public.
Yeah, 206 Milwaukee Court, Westby. And so actually I come tonight, not in my UW Extension role, but when I'm not working with them, I work with nonprofits in the area and I'm president of Vernon Women's Alliance. And so I did want to just bring a flyer and make it aware that our annual fall charity fundraiser that we're having this year. So we are doing it in it was chosen by our membership to raise money for the Eckert Park playground project. So we are selling tickets for that, and we'll be hosting it out at Branches Winery later this month on the 18th. So that is there, and all the funds will then go to a Viroqua Area Foundation. So, yep, that was it.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Is there anyone else who'd like to make a public comment? Anyone online?
I think you're good, Steve.
Okay. All right, we'll go to the presentations, or sorry, approval of committee minutes from August 5th, 2025. Looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes.
AJ, I'll second.
Motion in a second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now we'll go on to presentation on Eckert Enchantment Playground designs. Kale, take it away.
Okay, so I'll bring you up to speed where we are at today. So since our last meeting, as you guys all remember, we kind of put it on hold and reached out to Play by Design, another company that's out of Ithaca, New York, I believe. It was more of that wood structure. But in the meantime, we still had discussions with Lee Recreation and did some tweaks on the design that they presented us. Again, both playground companies, this isn't a final design by no means. Lee Recreation has been extremely flexible and understanding and great to work with still. So they've taken more stabs at it as well. You'll see in both of these renderings that we've tried to add the trees back into the playground area. So on this one, you can see the 4 trees. However,
When you say add them back in, you meaning they're the existing trees, correct?
correct.
All right.
These are the existing trees that are in the playground right now. Again, you can see the 4 right here in this rendering. Again, they're not to scale just because it's hard to make it sizable to scale and still see the playground. So please note that. So again, you won't see much of a change with Lee Recreation. This is going to get confusing. Still the main structure. We did move it slightly. Sorry. Can I move it on this one?
Burke is Lee, right?
No, it's just there.
Yeah,
was thinking
Lee
I had to
Burke
move
is
it
the
there.
Wisconsin rep for Burke BCI. The gentleman that runs Play by Design's name is Lee. So that might get confusing. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
So
We'll try to refer to him as
Play by Design.
Lee Burke and Play by Design. That probably be the best way to do that.
So again, Lee Recreations Design, we downsized the 2 to 5 tot area. Again, it's all interchangeable. I had a conversation with Pat, our rep from Lee Recreation. If that's not the way you wanted to go, we could switch it out with a more natural structure. So again, any of this in both renderings can be changed. So we're just looking for more feedback too. They added more natural play from whole trees. So that quote includes this natural area. The swings, again, the ADA accessibility and this playground with the slide and the wheelchair rocker and those areas. So do you have any, and again, remember, these quotes do not include the wraparound sidewalk that we're hoping to do. If it falls within our budget, the fence, that's not included in the price tag as well. The picnic tables are, however, but yes, again, this is just more for playground equipment. So I'm gonna try to show you more pictures of this. So they did add on this one more like underneath, if I can get my mouse to the spot. They tried to enclose some of the understructures so kids had more opportunities to hide in that. So I know the leadership team, there was concern from the public meeting that, is this too high and can parents get up there? We had a lot of long talks on that. We thought we'd keep it in there because at playgrounds, most kids take it on themselves to help other kids get down if needed. So we didn't think that was a huge deal. And we thought we would keep that. And again, this structure, if you guys don't remember, gets you up to about 16 feet. So it is pretty high. We were considering taking one down, but with, keeping the trees, but we made it work with the existing trees in there. So again, a lot of the design that you saw the first time did not change, minus maybe a few placements of here and there locations. And again, I know these rocks were a concern. These rocks are all engineered, so they already have their fall zones built in the design. If we put our own boulders in there, we would have to make sure the fall zones are correct. So each one of these structures has a fall zone, and I'll show you on here. They can't be too close to each other. It's a safety. So again, that's why we did not just go with a boulder from CNC, because you have to have the dimensions. These are all engineered with correct fall zones and placements. So I know that was a concern. Again, the tot area, that it was downsized a little bit to make everything fit. But again, that could be switched out if we wanted to go a different route. So So this quote came in at about 700,000. So just so you know, for prices, I think it was almost dead on 7,000. So Cindy, oh, you can't tell on this one, but if you look, let's try to. This one might not have the shaded areas that you can tell, but it is shaded, but you barely can see it. So each structure has a shaded structure around it. That's considered the fall zone. So,
Thank you.
so again, that price for this one with PIP wood, engineered wood fiber wood chips. That's another thing that you can't just buy at CNC. They have to, you can buy it, they have them, but they're special wood chips for playgrounds. Can't just get the wood chips that you put around your house for a playground. So yeah, this one came exactly at 700,000. So everything but the sidewalk and the fence is in that price. Anybody have any questions? Seth, I know you're online. Any questions about Lee Recreations Playground?
Something that I noticed right away is the picnic tables are still out in the sun. And I know that was something that was mentioned, that people would want to be in the shade.
Like if you go to the current playground as it sits right now, it's actually under the canopy of the trees. In this picture, it looks like it's in full sun, but it would not be. It's one of those things where you can't represent what's really there with a
Yeah,
picture.
This tree would be blocking.
Okay,
Right.
good point. Thank you.
This one's a lot bigger than what it is, so.
Okay.
Yes.
Emma did join around 4:07, so or 4:06, I'm sorry, so she is online as well.
Hi. I really appreciate all the work you guys have done and trying to work around the trees. I think that's like a big thing. I was curious. I remember someone spoke about the difference between ramps and staircases in the open comment, and I always thought that was a really interesting piece around just how children's bodies developed. So I didn't know if that was something that was ever discussed at all.
Yeah, we discussed it, but this one is more, I wouldn't say ADA accessible, but it is, because remember, based on the kids, whatever the kid has, the kid could almost get all the way up to this landing with the ramps. And again, I know Pat is in the, spectators. Pat, would you like to talk more about the stairs? Why we didn't add more stairs into this one?
So I'm Pat, I'm with Lee Recreation. Been working with Kale and you guys for quite some time on this. So Kale and I, when we were talking about the redesign here with accessibility was kind of a main focal point with him. So we chose to keep these Terex climbers in here with the intent that a child and their mobility device could park down off that slide where the sun is. If they have the ability to mobilize themselves, scoot up the ramp with their upper body, they in essence can get up to 10 feet over to that bottom dragon slide there. So we both talked kind of pros, cons, and Kale ultimately decided that, yeah, that's the route that they wanted to go more or less to provide another opportunity to get to those elevated heights.
Yeah, and like the ones over here, I know they're not stairs, but they're kind of ladders. So it was kind of, I think, about the same that we had felt with this design. There's definitely probably possibilities that we could put stairs in a few, but we just chose at that time not to.
Can you highlight some of the changes made? Because you probably know better what you changed than some folks maybe even in the audience. So like it looks like the upper part of this space shuttle actually has usability now, where instead of it just being an open space. So I don't know if you could speak to that.
Yeah, so major changes here is more of a configuration change just to make things fit with the trees incorporated within the design. You'll see just kind of the flow of the rope tunnels on the big elevated decks there. Connected play was a huge need, I guess, or priority from Kale, which is with the boulders and stuff. And to touch on that, yes, these are all manufactured boulders that they've gone through rigorous testing. It's not your standard rock or stump or whatever. So yes, they've gone through all ASTM standards or testing and have fall zones incorporated with them and are, placed accordingly, through their standards, I guess. So, but major changes, there's not a ton. We talked, he wanted to keep this main structure as similar to the previous design as possible. So it's mainly just kind of a configuration. Like I mentioned, a lot of the play components are very similar, if not the same, from the previous design. The big change on this was adding the natural play elements, the whole tree climbers within the 4 trees over there, to get that natural theme. And then also we downsized that 2 to 5 structure, the barn over there, just to that's where most of the stairs and stuff, when we talked about child development, came in, is that there's no ramps or anything included on that structure. Thinking your 2 to 5 year olds, that's super critical. Once they hit that 5-year-old age group, they're in essence going to be out more balanced and, core strength, that type of stuff, which is why the climbing and those circuits and stuff have been incorporated in here. And this structure itself is just loaded with different types of play, motor skills and everything that way. So.
Thanks, Pat.
Yep.
So again, this structure would be built by Lee Recreation. So for my set of standards, or not standards, but with a limited staff, there's nothing that I would have to do besides the wood chips. They would just deliver the wood chips and then we would spread them with the tractors. So again, I know metal gets a bad name, but it is maintenance free. I wouldn't say maintenance free, but not much that we would have to do in regards to the structure itself with a limited staff. So any questions on this structure before I get into the next ones? Decker is north right here. So out on this side. So good question. So the existing path from the Park Bowl is up through here. So you come up from the Park Bowl and there's that trail and that would lead you in this way. The shelter is, if you can see my cursor, would be on this side of the playground. So any question?
We're gonna, yeah, we'll have time for public, like the interaction after the presentation.
Kale, did you say there was something in the purple thing now? Is that supposed to be a rocket or?
It is the spaceship, but I don't think we were able to add anything up in this area. The cone still, you can't get up in there.
Okay.
So it's just the look of the spaceship. So again, you'll see it on the next one too, but our RFP that went out, it was climbing, slides, connective play. Steve, I'm probably missing some. Zip line,
Yeah.
and swings. So, and I don't know.
And then we also wanted to incorporate the features like the dragon and the space shuttle, the barn, stage, that sort of thing that kind of pays homage to the current playground.
Yep. So that's, yeah, we tried to keep the dragon and the spaceship, like Steve said. The swings, again, there's I say it always wrong, but there's a therapeutic swing for disability. Then it's like a mommy and me or expression swing. So adult could be on one side and the kid could be on the other and they swing together. Then 2 tot bucket swings and then 4 just belt swings and then a disc swing. And again, this is the PIP surface that they could roll out and get onto that swing or yep. And then this blue with the sun is PIP too. So again, a wheelchair could roll up here, transition and go up. And again, if they went to this slide at the 10-foot sling, they would, a caregiver would have to roll over the wheelchair, but it is considered ADA accessible. And you'll see that on the next rendering as well.
This is this is just Emma again. I just think just the inclusion of the trees and having more like natural elements like the rocks and the trees that for walking on just makes such a huge difference with this design. It really changes it a lot.
Thanks, Emma.
The wood pile climber, is that manufactured just like the boulders? Like the
wood?
Yeah.
So these are trees from whole trees in Westby. So it's not well, I don't know how you would say that. That's organically factored. So they're real trees and they place them in there. So they're just all skinned or barked and there's other elements, but we've thought about including different ones, but at this time for this rendering, this is what we kind of went with. Okay. So I'm going to quickly show you Play by Design, their first design. So after our leadership meeting last week, we reached out to Play by Design and asked them if they could change a few things. And that one I was not able to get to you guys because we received it today and I was out on the mower all day. So I apologize for that. So I'm just going to quickly show you the first design and then hit the second one. So you'll see from this one, again, the noticeable change is kind of the wood structure feel to it. Again, remember, this isn't wood. This is engineered composite, or I don't know what the proper name of it is.
Post-consumer recycled plastic made into lumber.
Okay. So the funny part is this playground company outsources and provides all Burke playground equipment. So you'll see a lot of the same things minus the structure itself, but the swings, the zip line, the spinner, the slides, they all come from Burke. Okay. So just wanted to make that note. The climber, you'll see in the next one, it's the same exact climber as what Lee Recreation proposed to us. So again, the real only change is the structure, the engine, the recycled stuff that connects all the playground.
Does this cover the same area? Or is it moved a little bit, or it looks so spread out?
So this one doesn't, it's the same footprint as Lee Recreations. So this one, again, doesn't have the fence. And like I said, I'm not going to show you all, but I do want to show you the heights on a few of the items, just so you kind of know what and again, that's changed as well, but you can kind of see so on this one, the dragon is kind of right here. It's hard to see, but there is a dragon outline, and then the slide is supposed to be the tongue. Okay. So maybe I'll just go to the next one to make it easier. But that one doesn't have heights. So this height deck was.
It has heights.
Does it?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't. Okay. So Okay, so this is the revised one that we received. Again, same RFP. Zip lines, climbing, interconnected play. It's getting hard. That too big? So the same opening, kind of you come in. They took the designs that were on the website from Lee Recreation and kind of came up with essentially their own, but you'll see a lot of similarities. Again, 2 to 5 structure in the same area, with 2 slides coming down. It's hard to see on this one. Same swing structure. So this 3-person slide is what, 72 divided by 12 is what, 6 feet? So you're getting up to 6 feet on this one. And then this one is,
Yeah, the numbers are in white. Like if you zoom in, really zoom in there, all the decking has the heights on
120.
them.
So that's 10 feet. So I think this one, the decking is 10 feet. It's bigger, you know, it's probably what, I don't know, 16
I
feet
think it was,
total
I think
high.
it was 16. I think.
So, their spaceship is kind of a rock wall spaceship. You climb on that. Same thing with the ADA. You come up this ramp, they have the same rocker. And you can come up here with a wheelchair and then go down this slide. So you would still, and again, this rendering is the second rendering received from Play by Design. Comparing apples to apples, we have worked with Lee Recreation a lot longer. So, but their tree, again, they have a little stage in there between the trees. Their interconnective play is kind of on this side, you know, with all the, so it's off to the side with monkey bars. These wheels kind of rotate when you try to go across them. A little ladder up there.
Yeah, it's like a rope, kind of like a
Rope climber?
Yeah, a rope climber.
Okay. And again, sorry, I didn't get to spend as much time as I wanted to on this one today because I was busy doing other things.
Yeah, so do you mind if I
Yeah, you
talk
can
a little
jump
bit?
in.
So this company is actually connected to our playground currently. So they were the And Associates, part of Leathers and Associates. They have since, Leathers went one way and they went a different way, but essentially the gentleman who signed off on the engineering documents on our current playground work for this company still today. So they actually have, this is like their idea of a second generation of our current playground. Yeah, so like there are a lot of similarities in the actually like the slides. They're essentially the same slides, the same rope swing or the zip line rather. Same climber, and it's all because they do use Burke BCI for their playground apparatus. That's where they get their stuff. The difference is they custom design the barn, they custom design the dragon, and then as far as like the decking where the ramps are, you can actually fit 2 wheelchairs side by side. So say one's going up, one's coming down. But on top of that, it could be a stroller. You can actually take a stroller up there, and the way I think it's a double stroller either way. So if you had a double stroller going up and a double stroller coming down, they could still fit side by side. And the idea behind that is that it's more intergenerational play. So if you have a caretaker that wants to play with their kids, they can still navigate, but there's still opportunity for like the climbing, the monkey bars. that sort of thing. I know some of the, over here on the far right, they have a low monkey bar, which they show like a person in a wheelchair, so they can actually sit in the wheelchair but still kind of pull themselves along with the low monkey bar. But also younger kids could use it as well. Yeah, I feel like it has a little bit more of the look that our current playground has. And the only difference being it's not wood, it's made out of the post-consumer recycled plastic that's made into lumber. But I don't know if you want to scroll through like the additional pages that show what the apparatus are, because sometimes they're not direct pictures from like our playground, but it's kind of the apparatus that would be there. So this is it's like a twisty balance beam. But basically it has a very comparable like items of play. I think both of them they took our input and they ran with it, which is really good because it adds a lot of elements that we don't currently have in our playground.
Steve, is the space shuttle that I saw just a drawing or a,
Well, I think it's made to be like a 3D outer shell.
can't go in it or?
Well, this isn't the final design, so if we wanted to make that something like that, I think that's very possible. It's all kind of conceptual, I guess is the right word to use. I know the dragon has a face on either side now. So facing the street, there's a face of a dragon on the side that the kids see is also a dragon face. But it could also be changed. And if I do remember right, the fence in this design is not included. It was just kind of shown as a representation. And then there's the actual stage is also not included, but it was kind of like this is what you could do. And then I was told that you could even use like locust logs for the seats and make it so it's not so it is like the stage could be just kind of flat as well. So if you were in a wheelchair and you wanted to be on stage, you could be on stage. It wouldn't have to be elevated. So I think there's a lot of, on both designs, there's still room for tweaking and improving.
So this one, the current one I'm showing, this one came in at $746,890. They do give you an optional volunteer credit if you can provide 40 adults 21 plus for 6 days. And then the total price would be 671,890. So very comparable, both of them within range. We kind of laugh that we started at 500,000 with the budget, and we just seem like we keep going. So we tried to hard cap it at, 700,000. As you can tell, things are not cheap. This one does same thing. Like Steve said, the fence, we would have to fundraise with the pickets. But does include the PIP and the engineered wood fiber as well.
Is the sidewalk included in theirs?
No, we do not include that because we're hoping for donations or and I was gonna get you a price on that, and I apologize, I did not.
This is Emma. I really love the Rainbow Bridge because it's very like referential to the Waldorf community, and some of the like traditions they have. So I think it will like kind of carry over, for families that's part of their education. Like I think any child will enjoy it, but I think it's a good sort of way to nod to that community as well.
They're working around the trees also.
Yes.
Yeah, the first design, they actually had what's called the Volta spinner. So it's like a modern merry-go-round. They had that almost exactly where one of the trees currently is. So we called that out and then they moved the spinner and then put the tree back in. So the second design has like the green circles with yeah, those are the trees. They're not a play apparatus.
Can
if
you
that's what
pick-
you're-
Tell us which design it was, because you've studied these. Give us one that we can look at. The ones that are more sideways, I find more helpful than this angle personally.
Yeah,
That's-
Like, is there one in
there's
particular
one
that
from the
you
side,
like?
yeah.
So you want the, like the
Like
side and
just
not
yeah, give
the
them
top down,
give them the side one.
like this one?
Yeah, to me, that personally makes more sense.
You just can't see all the elements that way.
Yeah, right.
So again, with the footprint, so everybody's clear, the footprint is pretty much identical to what we currently have, minus where these two trees are. And to like this tree, to fit everything we wanted, we had to make this corner more of a playground. Okay. What was I gonna say? Yeah. That tree is kind of in that dead space, but right, those two, yeah, so it is additional space than what we currently are at. But I did reach out to Janesville, Wisconsin, because they built one about 10 years ago and they're actually going through the same process we are, and they're working with Play by Design. So I wanted to get some feel from them. And I've known the director for a little bit now. He said they're good to work with. He did say if he had to do it again, he would go with metal just because it's easier with the maintenance staff and himself. And he did recommend if he had to do it again, he would not do a community build. Just how long it took, volunteers, equipment. So, and again, that's just his opinion, but those were concerns from the leadership team with Leathers. And then going with, if we did go in this direction, same thing. If we were able to do a community build, and hopefully we could do one with the community, but he said the same thing. He's like, everybody was gung ho, wanted to do it. And then it fell on the city at the end because nobody wanted to do it anymore. And it was a big task for the city.
Do you know if they had a previous history of doing a playground? The city?
Previous,
If Janesville had done it before, like Viroqua has done before.
they had two Leathers playgrounds. They replaced one about 10 years ago and they're working on the other one right now. So they're going through the process right
I
now.
was curious if they did a community build before.
I'm sure they did, but he wasn't the director at the
Yeah.
time. So just, again, take it for what it's worth, but yeah, I thought that was interesting. And we kind of, even when talking with Lee, he said, with the community build, the city should not be the ones that run it. It should be volunteer group, because he's like, you will not have time to run a community build. So the guy that's building them even recommends me as a park and rec director, stay away, be included, but don't run it.
This is Emma. I really appreciate that you're being very sensible about how much time, energy you have and the scope of the work. So I really appreciate you bringing that up. I had another question. I was looking at the stage. I know that that wasn't necessarily included, but it's just an idea. It definitely helps that imaginative play part. But I had this question as I'm looking at it. There's that whole sort of fleet of like climbing or like hanging structures on one side. And then there's that sort of spider web monkey bar thing. And I was just kind of curious, that's in both designs. And where did that come from? Because I was just wondering, like when you're over on that side and you're already have all these climbing structures, will kids pop over to that? I was just curious.
Answer that or me?
Sure. Yeah, it's I think that was one of the most top requested things in our survey that we did with the children. That specific spider climber. And I know it's always been, I guess, kind of the focus within the playground committee. There's a lot of voices that wanted the biggest spider climber we could get, meaning to get you up to certain elevations, to maximize the play value in it. Because the original design had a smaller play climber, and they felt they wanted the bigger one as part of it. So that's kind of how that one, I guess, got placed. But that was with this design, that's how we could fit it in. I think the original one was on the bottom right-hand corner of this drawing, but it was considerably smaller.
No, thanks for explaining that to me. I think that was mentioned earlier. And the other thing I was noticing with all those like climbing, balancing pieces is like very ninja, like Ninja Warrior style. Like I
Right.
think about my kids when they were little and they would have loved that.
Yeah, because even this design here has the, I forget what it's called, but it's kind of a one of those things like a warp wall. Yeah, but I don't know. That's not what they call it. But on the backside of the space shuttle, there's the warp wall where you can run and climb up that black piece right there. You can run and climb up. Both playgrounds have that. Um, just to point out, like this one also currently has the shade structures over the picnic tables, which are included in the price, which we might need to revisit because that could lower the price as well. And then it does have the PIP included. But we can always change the amount if we don't want the total amount. I think it was added to these swings because you know, if you already had the board in place, it makes those swings more accessible if you have a stroller or if you're in a chair.
And also just to go back to something Kale said, so with upkeep, what's the big difference between the manufactured plastic wood stuff and metal as far as upkeep? Like what are the kinds of issues that you would run into with either of them? And then also I think someone put a comment in about is metal ever too hot, too cold? That was another question I had.
Yeah, so maintenance, I'm hoping I don't have to run into maintenance on either one and, you know, for the first 15, 20 years. I'm more reluctant on this one just because of leathers with everything tied into each other. I don't think that would be as much of a problem with this one because it is a lot of the Lee Burke equipment. It's just, you know, would the I don't think there's the staining, the painting, there's none of that. So minus the spaceship wall, we would have to discuss with that. So I'm not too worried on the maintenance, but I don't know. I would have to, ask them about that. I asked Janesville and they said they haven't had to do too much maintenance besides replacing worn out parts, just like we would have to in the metal. And Pat would have to maybe if he would want to, but the metal with the hot and cold, again, it's where you place it. And if we do, again, hopefully keep the trees, I think there's enough shade that, most of the time, I don't think the metal would be too hot, but, it depends on the year we're having and all that, but there is enough shade with the metal that you guys have Pat, would you mind talking about that? You see metal playgrounds everywhere, so.
No, we don't have issues with that. Obviously things get hot in direct sunlight. This one's gonna be shaded more so than any other playground I probably have seen. So, no, it's not gonna be an issue. Obviously, I have a composite deck at home that's in direct sunlight that gets extremely hot that I don't want to walk on that in barefoot. So to each their own, I guess, but no, we don't get a lot regarding the metal. All of our decks and stuff are PVC coated. So plastics and stuff, we don't have issues with that either. But ultimately it comes down to if it's in direct sunlight, it's going to get warm. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Thanks, Pat. And again, my biggest concerns were getting to the playground. The fence, again, that was a big concern of mine. If we do put a fence in, we will have to figure out access points that we can get machinery in there. The trees, again, they're old. Again, hopefully nothing happens, but if something were, a storm comes through or they just fail, then taking those down over time is more expensive. Again, you've heard all this. So those were my concerns with the trees there, the risk, and then just the maintenance, because in the fall now, we spend how many hours up there trying to get leaves out of that playground. So that was the maintenance with a limited staff is the hardest part. And it's gonna, whichever way we go, it's gonna be that problem, moving forward.
There was one of the pages that had a fence and it looked like people were donating pickets.
Yep, so they engrave the pickets, with the
Those are
names.
wooden or were they that same? kind
They're
of
the
picture?
same style, they're just routed in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're now made out of the same, because we have holes in our fence currently, they're wooden pickets, and some of them have been either rotted out or kicked out and replaced over time. But essentially they can be used as a fundraiser where you can actually donate, or well, I don't know what the dollar amount is per picket, but it could be used as a fundraiser. And so it's not, it would cover the cost of the fence and then add some to the playground. But I think that's all stuff that needs to be fleshed out with fundraising. I think more importantly, it was just representative fence, so there wasn't accusations that we were leaving that out. But also, I think if you wanted a fence for fence sake and you wanted to go on the less expensive route, doing the picket fence probably wouldn't be the way to go, because you could probably do like a chain link fence cheaper than doing the picket fence, because it'd take about 1,000. I think he did the rough math. It'd take about 1,000 pickets to do this fence.
How about the wrought iron one that was shown on the other plan? That's pretty expensive too.
Wasn't included in the price. It was
Right,
just,
no,
a
I'm just
representation.
curious, those are-
No idea. Does anybody else have any questions? Or I think we'll go ahead and open up the public comment portion of the park or design concepts. We're gonna go ahead and kind of set some ground rules. We're gonna keep it to 3 minutes. Please be respectful of everybody here. So let's try to limit our speaking time to 1 time only. That goes for everybody online as well. So have your comments prepared and you can come on up. Do they need to state their name and address? Please state your name and address as well. And we're underway.
Kim Little, 425 Chicago Avenue. As most people know, I've spent a lot of time on this process in the last year. At our last meeting, really, a lot of discussion about, the time we've worked with one company, coming to this company, been back and forth, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about it. And when you look at what what the kids wanted and what the adults want. I do believe this second design meets that much better. I do believe that Angie and I have had many conversations as we're starting to think about the fundraising aspect. Most likely, representation of donations would not be on the fence. It doesn't last, and you have to walk around and look and everything. Angie and I are working on some ideas to make basically a dragon plaque that would represent people and the amount. She's been working on that. I think we're at the point where whether this is, quote, nothing's final till we raise the money. I mean, that's the bottom line. If we don't raise quite enough money, we might have to take a feature out. That is always a possibility. And I don't think we should pretend otherwise. But I think we're at the point where each of these designs meet our needs. I think I have my own guilt about this first design because we spent so long and so much time on that. But I do believe the second design really meets what the community is looking for. And again, whether or not we end up with a community build and saving that part, I don't think that has to be decided right now because again, it's going to come down to how much money can we raise and where are we at? And as you know, we can say, okay, we're going to do this and we might not hit our financial goals, although I think there's a lot of excitement about it and I think we can do that. Overall, I think the committee is ready to go forward. Overall, most of the committee, the play by design was the preferred option because it meets what the community was looking for. And the trees are all there. And I think, the fence is kind of a minor point. There will be a fence, but the kind and style of fence, I think, can be left open to, the possible donations we get or the amount of money we have and those kind of things. And we want to be able to have openings in the fence that equipment can go through and those kinds of things. So that's kind of my thoughts from the committee.
Thank you.
Florence Sandock, S 8241 Stumpbridge Road, Viroqua. I believe, are we going to be seeing a second design today?
Those were the two designs.
I thought there was another design that didn't have all this plastic in it. No? Well, I'm sorry to say, this looks like something out of McDonald's that McDonald's would feature. It's still full of plastic. I think it's way too complicated. I did send Mr. Torres some pictures of a playground in Lake City, Minnesota that I was just at this weekend, which is a city that's very much the same size as Viroqua. Very simple design, about 4 or 5 little features, a little merry-go-round, a water feature, a little swing. The kids were having a ball. I don't think it has to be this complicated, this worrying about whether you can climb and whether muscle tone and all of this. It just seems like it is overkill and way too expensive. Also, the flooring at this park, which was right off by the Mississippi, was a rubberized flooring, which the kids loved because it was sort of bouncy and comfortable, and the kids, if they fell, there was no harm to them. I think it could be much simpler, and honestly, I think this is just plain old ugly. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Emily Grantham, 215 South Washington Avenue. Thank you first for listening to the feedback that's been given over the last few weeks. I think this second design from Play by Design, to echo what Kim was saying, really is true to the spirit of what the community is looking for. A year ago, I helped compile and present the results from the community survey. And resoundingly, they did not want it to become just another plastic, metal, multicolored park. They strongly desired a natural look and feel. Many people didn't even want it to be redone because they loved it so much. So I love that this is really reflecting the features they wanted, like the zip line. Even though it's recycled plastic and not wood, I appreciate that it's wood look and feel. So I just want to give my support and just re-anchor us in what the community wanted. And I think the Play by Design does that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Emlyn Jones from 102 Western Avenue. Yeah, I think the direction both these designs are going are a lot better, fitting the values that our community has stated. So thank you for listening to us. Thank you for all the work you've done to get us this far. My main focus is on the trees. I'm a certified arborist. And I love to see that looks like the plan is to keep the trees. So a huge fan of that. That being said, I am seeing things in the design where I think it could be changed a little bit that would really benefit the tree health long term. I'd love the opportunity to be a part of that conversation if you take it. Just to work with the designers through that. I think we can still have all those features. I think we can make it work. But there's a lot of current features in the current design that we have right now that are really, it was done very mindfully. One of the healthiest, oldest trees in the park is right in the middle of that playground, close to the park bowl entrance side of it. Like probably close to 300-year-old tree. It's got a nice buffer around it. I was testing the soil compaction levels around there. It's lower than any other tree compaction in the park, and it's one of the healthiest looking trees in the park. And I think it's because of the way they designed it. So I would just hate to see like that to be disturbed or just because it wasn't thought through fully. So it's my job as a certified arborist to work with projects like that. It is part of my profession expertise. So I encourage you to take me up on that. I'd be happy to donate service hours to that. And also the picnic tables, maybe it was mentioned, but just to save money, I think it was mentioned last time. I'm sure we could find people in the community to build some wood picnic tables, which I think could save money. So that's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Rachel online, Rachel Bassett. I'm on 129 Crestline, and I have Nathan, my younger son, with me. He wants to voice his appreciation for the second design, I think the Play by Design. But I wanted to ask too, I've been at multiple different playgrounds over my motherhood and childhood, and there's some really neat ones that have like large scale music or sound making equipment that, you know, just very simple, like a gong or like a xylophone or you know, chimes that kids can, well, even grown-ups love them too. And if we could add something like that, that would be really neat. And I second the idea. All the playgrounds we go to, the kids really, really like those large climbing webs, and the higher and the more layers. And if you can have them like multi-layer, those are really cool. I would say I never see anybody using those, like the metal circles that are hanging that are then sort of swing you around. Like, my personal feeling is I don't like them. Neither of my kids ever like them. So that would just be something that I would say, if if that's still an option to get rid of those and use that money for something else or just save that money. But yes, I appreciate the conversation, and you have one kid's vote for the second design. And I would ask if we could put some sort of a music or just sound making. Oh yes, Nathan's whispering at me something that seems like a tree house. He would like that too. So
A tree slide. It just goes through
Thank you.
the tree.
Thank you.
Dallas Severs, 620 West Decker Street, Viroqua. Thank you to the committee and the subcommittee for listening to the feedback and taking the time to reach out to Play by Design to have another option here. It seems like it is an option that the community seems to be already embracing and liking. My daughter really liked the idea of it. She's just immediately loved a good handful of things. Actually, she loved the it's a simple thing, the starry sky, whatever the roof with the starry sky, the rock wall. I think there was a rock, but let's see. She had a couple other ones. She had said the dragon could be a little bit bigger, and I agreed as well. Something I noticed would be super cool if the shuttle was like actually part of the main structure there. You know, the overall design just feels so much more like Viroqua, and more kind of about what we have. It makes the mourning of the losing the park that we have less painful, you know. Not that it's and then thinking about fundraising, just the way the community has been talking about already, you know, we see people at the park, we see people at play dates, even in the last few days. There's more community buy-in, I feel already. That should make it easier to fundraise for. And I think we definitely think we could do the community build. I think people are excited about it. If you do choose to go with option 2, Play by Design, you know, starting to keep the momentum, and people are excited about it right now, and keep that momentum rolling. So keeping in communication with the community, I think is going to be very important. And then maybe bringing in some more people for help. I know there's a lot of people that would like to come in and help with the fundraising, you know, delegate a task to, you know, say it's the pickets, which, you know, rough math, there's 700 pickets. You sell them for $150 a piece, that's $105,000. So that pays for the fence plus more. I don't know if you could sell the full 700, but if you could, for whatever. So it's started to think about those kind of things, as Emily said, with the picnic tables. Maybe you can save money on picnic tables. You build them out of maybe they can send some extra board feet of the material that we can build into picnic tables. So it's still the composite, low maintenance, but we don't have to pay for the, you know, pre-built steel ones. I think is what it looked like it was in there. You know, simple things like that to save money. The web climber and the other things that are brought over from Lee, that's super cool. It gives like that best of both worlds. There were some really neat things about the Lee Burke design stuff, some of the features that are more modern, but then keep using Play by Design to keep the feel of what we have is really cool. You know, there's a handful of little tweaks that everyone would probably love, but this is direction 2, or option 2 definitely feels like the right direction. So again, if you guys need help with anything, you know.
Thanks, Dallas. Right in time. Please, yeah, hit the person. The person. Nope.
Here? There we go. Okay. Michael Brown, 703 Connor Street. And I just wanted to say I really appreciate hearing and seeing what I see today. And my participation in this process has been more to spread awareness around the park initiative, where it was going, and how people were either being heard or not heard. And I think that I just want to reemphasize what I said the last time around, was that I really appreciate seeing the organization on the website about, hey, here are the designs, here's when the meeting is happening, a little bit more proactivity around getting the community aware of what's actually happening. Personally, I think now I'm at the point where I can actually look at this and say, okay, instead of trying to draw people's attention to everything and get the community involvement, I think now I feel really comfortable with seeing people here offering design level detail feedback, saying, I like this feature, I don't like this feature. I'm not even going to say what I like or what I don't like because it's a lot of people have their own opinions. And I just wanted to say thank you for bringing in another design partner, being open to hearing the community's feedback and being more proactive with getting the information out there to everybody. And I'm not going to use up all my time. So thank you.
Thank you.
Krista Brown, 703 Connor Street. Thank you all for your work on this. I want to echo what some people have said here and also respect that it's budget season and that you're probably looking at how to find money for other super important projects that are climbing up. And I know Kale's time is spread thin on lots of different parks and rec programs. So I thought that one of the things I heard was focus on simpler with kids, especially like less choice and simple options often goes really far. So don't try to do everything all at once and maybe phasing it and future fundraising towards things and goal setting to keep community building around this, not just like one giant project that's put in and then it's new for a little bit and then it's not. You can have new elements that roll out every year or two. That could be fun and it could be budget savvy. Yeah, I think I like the second one. I think it hits the mark for a lot of what Emily said, the goals set out and what people wanted from the beginning. But I'm really, in echoing what Michael said, I'm just really grateful that everybody has shown up and been part of this process. So thank you all for your work and your time.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Gregory Splinter on West Decker. Thank you so much. Very appreciative for the process. And Steve, for your leadership and, you know, being in the tough spot of not knowing, because that's really hard. And maybe even harder than that is letting go. And, you know, people on the committee, you know, Kim particularly, of, you know, really out of care, elevating something and then being open enough to say, well, you know, being open-minded enough to say, well, let's try something else. So thank you so much. It's inspiring to be a part of that with all of you. And to stay in confusion is difficult. So I'm not as strong a person as Michael, and so I have this I have some design-mindedness around this. And really briefly, I think the one thing that could really be helpful and even lessen cost is the fence itself. That as an element, to think of it as just a rectangle that's holding this. It could be actually it could be fractured and do different things and have all the openings that are required. But that needs to be the fence needs to be thought of as like an independent design part of this, and not just, oh yeah, it has to be a rectangle, because it could add to the dynamicism of creating that space. I mean, think about it. If the fence becomes something that's sort of fractured and multiple openings and sort of maybe even random in so many ways, but still meeting all the needs of what needs to be done there, it could really add a lot to the aesthetic and the vibrancy of that space. I think that's it. Thanks, everybody. It's been inspiring being here. Last meeting, we were talking about going out for breakfast together. So maybe it'll be a beer at 8 instead of breakfast at 3 in the morning. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Laura Roberts, 403 Hickory Street, Viroqua. This is my first meeting. I'm really moved by how much work you all have done and people have worked together, and it's really moving to me. Having worked with young children my whole career, I just have one little design piece that I'm curious about, which is hanging. You know, that options to hang for different heights of children. And I understand that that might be true also for children who are in wheelchairs with one of the designs, and I can't keep them straight, but this would just be simple hanging where you could progressively carry more of your own weight with your upper body, because that's a big part of our culture is we don't really have enough upper body stuff for children. So I've never even actually seen one of those spider things. So possibly that would be included in that structure. And that's all I have. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Monica Matos on East Avenue in Viroqua. I want to echo the gratitude that people are expressing for your open-mindedness and reconsidering the direction that things were going. While I personally am not a big fan of the plastic, I completely get the maintenance aspect of this, and I think that the second design is a great middle ground and a great compromise. One thing that was mentioned early on was Viroqua's brand, and I think the second design definitely is more in keeping with that. But one of the things that concerns me are the artistic pieces. Because we have such an amazing art community here, things like the dragon, especially because this is Dragon Park, and the rocket, I'm wondering if it's possible to get local artists to do those artistic pieces so that they're not just manufactured like a nod to, oh, it's a Dragon Park, so here's this manufactured dragon. And again, that would also, if there were components of it that could be an artistic display, something by local artists that would draw people into Viroqua just to see the park. I mean, because they were, it would be like an art exhibit. So anyway, just a thought there. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kathy Lund. I live at 714 Abbey Lane, and I've attended the last few meetings, and I really appreciate the effort that you've gone through for this. I'm a detail-oriented person, so I appreciated having all that online because I spent a couple hours looking at that stuff. And then I went to the websites to check out each piece and what it looked like, and I would recommend anybody here to do that because seeing it far away is so much harder than seeing it online, and you can really explore. So I compared both, and although I like the second version better, I'm going to put down my notes that I noted for both of them. So on the first one, I noticed that they eliminated the awning, which you did note, but that also isn't apples to apples then, so I'm keeping that in mind. And then I would say on the Lee thing, if you keep that same design, I would extend the poured surface underneath the little kid playground and where it attaches to the ramp to the rocket playground, because I worked at the elementary school. They had bark along with that stuff, and kids will kick that bark onto the surface, and then you won't be able to roll a darn thing on there. So keep that in mind. If they slide down and that stuff shoots onto your surface, you're not going to have that rollability that you normally would. So I would extend that surfacing there. There's a baseball in that corner. It was a nod to our Legion thing. I get that, but it was $4,600 and it has very little play value in my mind. You could get at least 3 different pieces of activity. There was a Swift Twist, a Comet 2 spinner, and a Kid Force spinner. That would give you 3 different things you could do for the price of that one little baseball that I don't even know what you do with. I would like to see another option for the Connections double swing. I know you called it a reflection swing. It's not, reflection swing, expression swing. That's not. Some of the expression swings have 2 separate places for the parent and the child. This one, they sit on your lap. And I just think there's something wrong with that nowadays with all the stuff we have going on. We need to keep it separate, especially if it's kids doing that. They have some from Game Time or Willie Goat, so I would recommend that you look into those. The other thing is, what's the warranty on the Cirrus disc swing? Because it's a molded plastic, and if you get one crack in there, it's gonna leak water in, then it'll freeze, then it'll crack, and then it'll die. So just curious about that. Does the zip line include 2 launch pads? I didn't see any in either of the rendering. Well, no, I take that back. There's one in the second rendering, but not in the first Lee thing. What are the physical play features of the spaceship? Because it didn't seem like anything much more than a ramp. I see that the farm has been downsized, and you talked about that. It would be nice to see the overhead view to see what it actually includes. And I would like to see the orb rocker in there because it's really cool on the other version. Is that my time already? Well, dang, I didn't even get to the other version.
Kathy, you can always put it in an email, send it to us. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Is there anybody online that would like to speak?
Hi there. This is Heather Severs, 620 West Decker. Sorry, I don't have much of a voice tonight. I just wanted to make 2 quick comments. I really love having all of the swings in a line together so that I can push my baby in the baby swings, and then my 4-year-old is right there, and they can, like, as a family, we can swing together. And then my kids will spend so much time on that stage entering the performances. I think the stage concept in the middle of the trees is so cool. So we love the second option. It's kind of a cool combination. So thank you for all your work.
Thank you. All right. Anybody else, Nate?
Hi, am I audible? Okay, this is Sybil. I apologize if some of these things have been covered. I've had to kind of jump in and out with kid bedtime and stuff. So
Can you
I
do
had
it?
I had a few things that I
Sybil.
wanted to mention.
Sybil,
Yes.
this is Steve. Can you give us your address and your full name, please?
Oh, sorry. Sybil Dallaire. And we live at 8394 Tigan Road. So the first thing that I wanted to say is that I'm really happy to see some diversity of designs, and I actually am familiar with Play by Design because we used to live in Ithaca, where they're based out of, and not long before we moved, they actually replaced the main flagship playground in Ithaca. And I'm seeing a lot of similar elements that we saw there, and that playground, having had the opportunity to take my kids there, it was awesome. They did a really, really great job, and so it was exciting to me to make that connection when I looked at these designs and was like, oh, I've been to one of these playgrounds before. Oh, this is familiar. But at the same time, see some of these elements that are unique to this community. So I appreciate that they made an effort there to kind of preserve some of those elements. The other thing that I wanted to say was somebody mentioned those spinny monkey bar things. And I also don't like them and don't see them. I haven't noticed them being very popular pieces of play equipment at playgrounds that I've been to. I have seen them kind of frozen, seized up. So I don't know, if that's moisture getting in and messing with whatever bearings or whatever get in there, but they don't seem to have longevity. At least when, the few examples that I've seen, I haven't really appreciated their inclusion in playgrounds. The spider climber, on the other hand, I think is going to be an awesome thing to have. Shoot, I had a third point and now I can't remember what it was. So I'll leave it to somebody else to jump in here, and if I think of it, I'll pop back on if that's all right.
Thank you, Sybil.
Mhm.
Anyone else online?
Quite a few people online. If anybody online would like to make a public comment during this time, they can unmute themselves and speak now. Looks like we have another.
Hi, sorry. This is Shanoa Lockington from S6459 Black River Road of Viroqua. I just wanted to say that I appreciate you guys taking the time to get us a second option and reaching the community's needs. And with the fence, I love the idea of having it kind of spaced out and gapped out, because my biggest thing is like having a road, like a fence towards the main road of Decker Street, because that's like the most main crazy road, where it would be kind of nice if it was open towards the big shelter and stuff like that. And I think there's a lot of options for it.
Hi, this is Sybil again. If Shanoa is done, I remembered my other thing I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
So it was a fundraising idea that I don't know if it's ever come up or if it's even feasible, but if there was a way during or shortly following the disassembly of the current playground to auction off pieces of it as a fundraiser for the new playground. I know my family would be very interested in giving a home to one of the slides. And like I said, I don't know if that's even feasible or a possibility, but like, you know, having play equipment be rehomed to people that are willing to, you know, pay something for it. It's the kind of thing where if I went to something like that and somebody outbid me for it, I like wouldn't even be mad because it's just more money going to the new playground. And people could even like, it could even be sort of like a memorabilia kind of a thing, you know, a way to have a piece of this thing that was like a part of your childhood or a part of your kid's childhood or whatever. So just an idea that I thought I'd throw out there.
Thank you. Once again, if you're online and you'd like to make a comment, please unmute yourself and tell us your name and address and keep it to 3 minutes.
You're good, Steve.
Okay. Find myself here. All right, we'll move on to item 6, discussion with possible action regarding Eckert Enchantment Playground.
Gail, did you want to talk a little bit about what type of decision you're looking for tonight, just in terms of the scope of the decision?
Yeah, we're hoping to kind of move in the direction that we can continue this playground. Like Kim stated, nothing's final until we start fundraising, but if we could choose one of the 2 playground companies to continue to work with, that would be great. Again, Lee Recreation, we're probably 95% there. With a few changes. Play by Design, this is their second rendering. Steve's been in talk with them. I don't know how many they'll continue to do, but since they've been very quick and efficient to work with just when we started, 3 weeks ago, maybe 4 weeks ago. So again, neither one of them are charging us design fees, but that's we're looking to kind of get to that point where which one should we go with and move forward with them.
This is Cindy. I make a motion to go with Play by Design.
All right, we have a motion. Looking for a second.
This is AJ. I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
I appreciate, Kale, what you're saying about the maintenance on the metal versus the recycled plastic. But I think that the community seems to be the one that's everybody likes the most. And since Janesville has had good luck with it, I think that's another thing that's in our favor. And doing the community build the way they suggested, I guess Play by Design suggested. I think we can make it work.
I would agree. I think with the voices that have spoken up tonight, they are in favor of this park. I would like to see another rendering with the spaceship on it, obviously with more to it. I think it's very basic as is right now, but there can be more done there. But I think it fits what the community said at previous meetings, and for a second rendering, I think it checks a lot of boxes, and I know my kids are in favor of it. So
Emma, Seth, do you have anything to add?
This is Emma. Yeah, I think like there was so much feedback that came from the community, and I also heard tonight that, you know, did we end up with like the perfect wooden play structure park of our dreams? I think there's been compromises that have a lot of practicality to them and also like an impact on our park and rec director and staff. And there's all these things you have to consider. But what I really heard was this agreement that we can come together on this one a lot more. So I definitely support it. One thing I'd like in the future as we move forward, because I know we're not there yet, is, you know, if we're looking at budget, maybe we can start to highlight what are some things we can keep, what are some things that maybe might be on the chopping block if we have to let things go, start to sort of itemize that based on the community survey feedback, as well as where are some things that maybe we can fundraise. I can't remember who did the comment, but just even that things can be done, they can be done at different stages. So we don't have to bite off everything all at once. So I think as we move forward, I think it'll be good to have some creative conversations about how we finance it as well.
This is Seth. I just want to give my appreciation to Lee Recreation and what they dedicated time to in taking the baton in what was a seemingly lost direction, and giving us direction to work towards. But I would agree with seeing that Play by Design is going to be able to be meet in the middle, and just appreciate everybody's effort towards it.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. Do you want a roll call or we'll just do a voice vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So we'll move forward with Play by Design. All right. Go ahead and do item 7, Park and Rec Director updates. Kale?
Sorry. Parks update. So, not a whole lot. Just the big thing, our summer staff is officially done. So we're down 4 guys. We did fill the part-time year-round position with a student employee. We worked with the school district, and he has, we were just talking about it, and work school release. So we thought that would be a good fit. He was an employee that worked with us the past 2 years, so we didn't have to train anybody. So he's looking to work the fall, winter, and spring, and then we'll see if he comes back in the summer or if we have to refill it in the summer. But we thought that would be a good, it just checked off all our boxes with not have to retrain him. He knows what needs to be done. And it worked with the school where he could get off and do his school work training. So that was a huge undertaking.
Is he able to water flowers on the weekend?
So flowers are down. You probably noticed today. So our goal is Labor Day through, or Memorial Day through Labor Day. So those are down. So no more watering with that. But we are mowing right now. So like I had mentioned, we're down 4 guys. So today was a busy day for me. I helped mow the parks today. So at this time, I'm kind of not so much in my office anymore. I'm out, winterizing and cleaning up leaves and mowing and all that. So, so if you're trying to get a hold of me, please call or text me, and we'll deal with it then. But any questions on the parks? Everything's looking good. We do need to get out there. Playgrounds are still a battle right now with the weeds, but we've been able to mow and weed eat them. So they're not as bad as what they were. It seems too like the weather's slowing down a little bit and we're not mowing as much. So knock on wood, that we don't get rain and all that and then we mow again, but we're kind of hopefully slowing down on mowing.
I thought of a question. How about the dog park? Haven't heard much
In
mention about
regards
that.
to-
Well, the water was running down in, there was some problems, whatever.
Yeah, so last fall, we went out there with our tractors and kind of regraded it. We had help from the Public Works Department to regrade the road. Wade, this fall, he just kind of sloped that bank a little bit more. And we haven't had a much problem. So again, we're keeping our fingers crossed on that one as well. So we don't have more washout, but this year through all the rain, it held up pretty good.
Were there some other concerns? I can't remember now what they were, but
I would have to go back through the notes too.
well, it'd be obvious, I guess.
I know the one was the big parking. The county put some gravel on the road because it was all washing out. So that helped a lot. People are still parking on the road because that's really the only spot to park. So it might be in a couple years where we have to keep adding material on the side of the road to fix that. But
Okay.
for now, it's good.
Thank you.
So yeah, parks, if you guys see anything, please let us know. But we're trying to get around to everything right now. We are still currently mowing utilities and street, but we've had discussions with street department on maybe working better with what we currently mow and could they take some stuff? And when we're still in the area, we'll still mow, but again, we're kind of trying to work better with them and figure out a better mowing pattern during the summer so it's not all on Parks and Rec. And then recreation, not a whole lot. Flag football started a week ago. We have 80 kids through 1st through 6th grade, and then another 24 in our 7th and 8th grade tackle football program. So that's a awesome program to see if you're available on a Tuesday, drive by Polo and Ebbets and just see how many kids there are. Today, me and Steve were down there and parking's a little bit of a hassle, but it's cool to see all those kids out there enjoying the weather and playing some football. And then pickleball, we will be starting here in October with indoor fall pickleball. So that's all I got for pickleball or for rec.
Can you still sign up for fall pickleball? Or is that closed?
Yep. Nope. That's open until kind of a week before the deadline. So if anybody's interested, we haven't really promoted it much yet, but we'll start promoting that. Again, youth football, going back to them, they have our first game this Saturday. So if you're around the area and want to catch some flag football, they play at Viroqua the first 2 Saturdays, and then it's a co-op with North Crawford, Kickapoo, and Westby. So we go different places. So you don't have to travel too far, and it's nice. So yeah, other than that, not a whole lot. I want to say things are slowing down, but they're not slowing down because winterization and removing fences and playgrounds and all that will gear up here.
All right. Thank you, Kale. Second period for public comment. You sure can. Once again, just come up to the lectern and tell us who you are, where you live. Keep it to 3 minutes.
Kim Little, 425 Chicago. I just want to thank the committee. And then I also want to say, and there are a few people still here, that we will be, looking for additional help now within the committee, and not only with fundraising, but with the potential for community build and expanding on those things. And that, of course, is pending the city council approval of the same thing that Park and Rec has done. So if people are interested, they certainly can leave a message for Park and Rec. They can let Steve know, give them all your information. So we have name, phone number, email. And so as we move on, we will be able to put people to work. And we're also, Angie and I already have been in discussions with a local artist in terms of the sign. So we are looking at all of those things. So we have listened to what people have said and are just moving forward with some other things. And that would be in regard to a place to put the names and or logos of companies and individuals depending on their level of contribution. So we're working on that too. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kathy Lund, 714 Abbey Lane. I'm going to do the second half of my thing now. For my play-by-design review, I think the maintenance might be considering mildew and possibly power washing. So that's something to consider. If you think of composite decks, that's popular for that. I wanted to know if the 40 volunteers were per day or per the span of 6 days. Per day, 40 each day. Okay, just curious about that. The presentation showed congas were included in that, but they're not in the quote. They're not in the line item quote. So they're really cool. And they some other person talked about musical stuff, which would be nice to include, but it didn't have a price. So I noticed that. And the 11,500 that Lee put on for the benches and the awning, that these guys put on, Lee didn't have. So if you're matching apples to apples, subtract out 11,500 for that. And there's a really cool graphic on the play-by-design for the dragon face with the little mosaic squares. Look at it up close. It's really awesome. Anyway, Zipline has to, okay. I wanted to know, they talked about the tree house and the space shuttle, but it doesn't say what the features are. So I'm wondering if you can elaborate on what those features would be in those two things. And then they had panels and star roof. It'd be nice to know where they would go. And then there's that double ramp that you talked about, which I also thought was really cool. But what's along the side for a wheelchair person? What do they get to do when they're going up the ramp? I love the idea of the pull up on that jut out thing. That was great. Connection swing, I hate that. Okay. Yep. Overall, I think the features were similar and I really like it. I really recommend the website. One other question I had for your Park and Rec thing. What's the next step for this and who won the scavenger hunt? Did you get many entries? That's all I have.
I think we can discuss after the meeting. Thank you.
Emlyn Jones, 102 Western Avenue. Yeah, I'm looking at Kale as he's talking about this, and he's mentioning other things about the park, and we might do this. If we go with Burke, it might be a community build, and I can just see Kale's being like, oh my gosh, he's going to manage that, me. I'm just wondering if there's any way that you can get more support, what the process is, like money in Parks and Recs. I'm sure that's a process that I don't understand, of like, how do we fund, like give more money to Kale, get him more support. He just left, like he just mentioned his summer help is not around anymore. So, I'd be curious. I've heard other people in the community say like, yeah, if I got to pay more taxes or something to support parks and recs, like Kayla's like, how am I going to clean out this playground with all the leaves if we keep these trees? You know, it's like, well, I think everyone wants the trees, but we gotta, that comes with a price. So, I just want to make sure we can support that. So anyway, some of my thoughts. I'm curious about that process, but I'd like to support it. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public? Anybody else online?
Looks like you're good, Steve.
In that case, we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
Does AJ make a motion, we adjourn?
Cindy, I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.